Hello there, it's Gordon Bryan here with the Great Gordino newsletter, week commencing Monday, October 27th, 2014, and I hope all is well where you are. So there were a few things that caught my attention this week, and in fact there's probably too many to fit in to one newsletter, so we'll see how it goes. I might have to leave some things till next week. Let's crack on. Sunderland lost a football game 8-0. Now, 8-0, that's a big loss at any level, but especially considering they're playing in the Premier League, which is one of the richest sports leagues in the world. And it's their worst loss for over 30 years. That's hardly surprising. They were playing against Southampton, and what made the loss worse, if you can make an 8-0 loss worse, is that Southampton is over 300 miles away. Now, that's a long way to travel there and back for Sunderland fans, but still around 2,500 made the trip. So a couple of days after the loss, the team announced that they were going to club together the players and pay back the travelling costs of each fan that went. And if any fan didn't want the money, they'd donate it to charity. They worked out that would be around £60,000. Now for Premier League footballers, that's no big deal. But as the gesture, oh, I love it. It really made me smile. And it could be argued that that sets a bit of a precedent. But since an 8-0 score is so unusual, that's not a big factor in my view. It's all about the gesture, because the club is a real, what I'd call a fans club. They don't have many supporters outside the city, so they haven't got a big global fan base like the Man Uniteds of the game. Their fans are predominantly local or people from Sunderland who have moved away. They're passionate about the game, they're passionate about the club, and they've been through some really bad times following their team throughout the years. So it really made me smile when I found out about the gesture from the team. Of course, it must be said, playing better would be probably nicer. So during the week, Oscar Pistorius was sentenced to 5 years for killing Reeva Steenkamp. He could be out and serving house arrest within 10 months under the South African legal system. I'm not sure about this one. He was found not guilty of murdering her, but he was guilty of culpable homicide. He did shoot through the bathroom door several times without knowing who was in there. What did he think was going to happen to whoever was on the other side? That's the question. Did he know who was on the other side? During the course of the trial, and it was a long course of the proceedings, it came out many times, both in court and out of court, that he seemed to be a controlling man with a fierce temper who enjoyed guns. Quite a different person from the public picture that we'd all had of him up to the shooting. It could be that he knew full well who was behind the door when he shot through it, but the legal system has run its course. Verdict's been given, and he's now a convicted killer in jail. I'm not sure what else could happen there. You do find, though, a lot of commentary said that the trial was all about him, and hardly anything mentioned about Reeva, who's obviously passed away, been killed. And the media, commentary said we need to remember her in all of this as well, which is a good point. Big news for me this week. I went to my first NFL game. Now I've covered this in my other post, an NFL moment of the week 8 post, and there's a link to that on the right of the page. But I'm going to cover it here as well because it really was a big event for me. Having started to watch the NFL back in 1984, I had a few years away from watching it when the coverage went downhill on British television in the way it was done, and I actually stopped enjoying it. But I've been back watching it again for many years when they've gone back to serious coverage of the game, and I've seen the regular season games in London grow from the novelty of the first regular season game to a special event to where they are now, which is still a special event, but it's approaching a normal, quote, normal NFL game. In fact, it's so accepted that the talk of a London franchise, an actual London team, gets louder and louder every time. And the commissioner of the NFL, they reckon within 10 years or less there could well be a team in London, although there's lots of obstacles and trials and challenges they've got to overcome. And in fact, this game was held at 1:30 p.m. kickoff in the UK, and that's a breakfast kickoff in the US. So that was part of the testing by the NFL because that helped fans travelling after the game here in the UK, and it also meant that in the US, in that breakfast time slot, there was only one game being played, and it was the game in London, so it focused more of the US attention on the London game. And it also means that if it goes down well and the NFL sees that there's a market for breakfast games, they might move the games in the States, some of the games in the States, to that slot as well. So it's all interesting and part of the developing process towards a possible London team. So this game, the Detroit Lions were playing the Atlanta Falcons, who were the home team. And you can imagine how excited I was to be going to my first game, having watched it for all these years on the television. And the atmosphere was great up there, really exciting. You get fans from all different teams, and fans also bring along people who aren't fans of the sport. And you put those two together and it makes for a real family atmosphere. There's no tension, there's no shouting or chanting that you get at football matches outside the ground where opposing fans have to be herded like sheep and segregated to stop fighting. There's none of that. It's a real friendly family atmosphere. Lovely. I'll tell you something else. The merchandise aspect is huge, which is not a surprise. In fact, I've written in my own book, FB Passion Profits, and there's a link to that in the description, by the way, below this video, how I made money myself online from NFL merchandise. And in fact, in my book, I tell you exactly how. And on Sunday, I handed quite a bit of that straight back to the NFL, I can tell you. The goodies I bought were specific game day goodies, so they had the date, London, the date and the two teams on it. So a sweatshirt, hat, that kind of stuff. And the credit card machines in the merchandise tents, they were just singing to the NFL tune. Although my credit card was crying, it had to be said. And when you go to a game, you just get a sense of the massive size and scale of the sport. And I'm not just talking about the players, it's just big. The NFL is big, and you realise the pressures on the quarterbacks, for example, who drive the team, so the pressure that's heaped on them. Although, in this particular game, you also get a sense of the pressure on the kickers, because it was a close game, some great plays, and a tense outcome, and it came all the way, as many NFL games do, to the last kick by a kicker for a field goal. And he had to retake. I was lucky to go to a good game, some great plays, tense outcome, going all the way down to the last kick, as a lot of NFL games do. And the kick had to be retaken due to a penalty and so on, which just added to the excitement. And the Falcons ended up losing 22-21, having been 21 points up to 0 at half time. So painful for them, but no one else to blame. But yeah, the pressure on the kicker. One man running out into the middle of the field with 80,000 people shouting and screaming. That is pressure. Oh, what a great day. Phew, I'll be enjoying the memories of that for a long time, I can tell you. Okay, that's it for today. I'm going to leave a couple of things for next time. I think I've waffled on long enough for today. Do let me know what you think. I love all the feedback. Leave a comment below this video if you want, or pop over to the blog, thegreatgordino.com. Link is in the description below, and leave a comment there. I look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you next time.